Right, what's up? How you doing, guys? Bony here. So, we've got a new tool on our hands today, and in this video, I'm going to explain how I'm able to dominate every single game with this little hack. Now, what we're going to be talking about today in this video is we'll talk a little bit about the art of flanking and how to push effectively, how to rotate on the map, and what to be wary of whenever you're pushing a lane. Now, I've been able to dominate the scene, let's say, because I understand better than anybody how the map works, given the fact I've got 10 years of experience from playing a mobile game, League of Legends. Now, this is kind of the hardest thing to understand because it's not as simple as just watching the minimap and seeing, okay, where my enemies are, where my teammates are, and things are really straightforward because they're not. We want to be able to read the map before we actually see anybody on the map and whenever people go missing from the map, okay? So, let's say that I'm A or S, for example. And let's say I'm deciding to push left lane. I'm getting contested by one person here. And let's say one person is on mid, one person is here, one person is here, one person is here. I don't care what my teammates are doing. If you want to be the best player that you can be in this game and learn how to dominate, learn how I play, that I'm able to carry games solo, you need to stop thinking about your teammates. Your teammates don't matter. It doesn't matter if you have teammates or not. Well, it does, but you know what I mean. Like, you want to play at the highest level that you can play at and face any situation that the game is throwing at you, whether it's a 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, preventing the 1v2, preventing the 1v3, just putting yourself in the best position that you can possibly be in order for you to gain something, because this game is all about trading. What I mean by trading is, what do you accomplish and what do the enemies accomplish? So as long as you're trading in your favor, which essentially means that you are gaining something more valuable than your enemies, whether it's resources, whether it's gold, whether it's tower advantage, like you taking the enemy towers down and they don't, whether it's is you taking a kill without dying and then able to recall back to base safely, and so on and so forth. So let's not be around the bush. So let's say we got the situation going on. We see on the map that we have a player on the left hand side, a player on mid lane, well, an enemy, and an enemy on the right hand side. And I'm here. Now, where am I vulnerable from? Which angles? So, first of all, I'm vulnerable from this angle here because the enemy is here. Yeah. Then I'm vulnerable from this position here. So what do I need to think about? Well, I need to think about obviously what's in front of me and plan accordingly for what's in front of me. And I need to plan accordingly for this guy here, because out of him and him, who is more susceptible, who's more likely to come and gank me and turn the play not in my favor, making it 2v1? Well, this guy here on mid lane. So if this guy rotates through the river, then suddenly this becomes a 2v1. I'm getting hit from here, I'm getting hit from here. Yeah? So obviously, if my goal is not to push the lane, then my safe position would be here, because I'm no longer vulnerable from this angle here. Because if he comes, I've got line of sight on this guy here, and I also got line of sight on this guy here if he does decide to come. So what can I do? Well, I can just retreat to tower and then waste his time. Therefore, in the meantime, he's actually missing, farm minions on mid lane. Therefore, he doesn't gain any gold. And I do, because I'm able to hit minions and they have to share. So one of them is missing out. Now, if we have a situation where, for example, the enemy's here, I've taken down this tower, yeah, and I have to move further up. Let's say the minion wave is what we're fighting here. Well, what am I vulnerable from? I'm obviously vulnerable from, let's move this guy a little bit further here so we can actually see. So I'm vulnerable from this position, I'm vulnerable from this position, and I'm vulnerable from this position as well. So now, this is the main mistake that people make, because they blindly push a lane that is already, well, a lane that no longer has the tier 1 tower, which is this one here, because we said that we taken it down. This is one of the worst mistakes, because this can be a very good thing depending on what else is happening on the map. But let's say this, in this situation here, I'm pushing without, well, me being a beginner essentially, and not recognizing and not watching the minimap, then suddenly this is a way worse position than I've been in here, because I'm more vulnerable from more angles essentially. So how do I protect myself from this? By watching the minimap. If I don't see this guy from mid lane on the minimap anymore, that means that, okay, if he's not on the minimap, he's either doing two things. He's further back, yeah, or he's actually coming to gank me. Well, where can he gank me from? He can gank me from here, go all the way around, or he can go through the jungle and meet me here, okay? So, whenever I don't see him on the minimap, I count myself into my head, because it takes roughly about 12 seconds to get from mid to this position here, 10, 12 seconds. So, for example, if I have minions here, and I have a teammate here, and neither the minions, well, let's actually move a teammate here. Let's say I've got a teammate here, he's fighting this guy, and they've got minions here, because I can see them on the minimap, I can see the minions on the minimap. If I don't see him on the minimap, and my guy is here, and the minions don't see him, and he doesn't see him, well, that means that the guy is rotating. So if the guy is rotating, I'm no longer going to stay in this position and push effectively or 1v1 this guy. Because first of all, this guy is missing. And let's say in a game of 5v5, let's say there are two more people involved, yeah? They could be coming from base, and then they could double team, triple team me. And I don't want that. So in that case, I know I've got 99% accurate information that I am maybe ganked. And in this situation, I have to retreat. If I don't retreat, then I'm just gonna die. And I don't want to give gold away for free. So I'm just going to retreat further down here. Or it depends. I could check the river out to see if he's rotating through here, if this guy is rotating through here, or he's one like this. But essentially, I'm going to be playing safe. And I know this information based on the minimap. You have to watch the minimap as you watch your car mirrors. Every 2, 3, 4 seconds, keep an eye on the minimap. Keep account who you're fighting. Keep account how many people they're in the game. If there is, again, let's say 3 people and 3 people, 3 versus 3 essentially, and the guy is missing from mid lane, he had full HP or whatever, then that means that this guy is rotating onto me. So always watch the minimap. Now, as you've heard me talk in the laser video, I'm pretty sure, and you've seen me in my gameplays, I'm not blindly just pushing one lane. That's because once I push one lane, that means that this part of the map becomes my team's. Yeah? Because now I can safely rotate wherever I want into here. Because this is now the tower. The tower is down. This is the tower that he has to defend. Therefore, I can actually rotate and make plays on the map. I can take the jungle from here. I can rotate onto the guy here. Let's say if he's under tower and then my team is pressuring, I can, kill this guy here. Then I can dip away. I can do lots of things. Now, let's say we have also, in this case, why in most cases when you take a tower down, yeah, let me explain the philosophy behind you going onto another lane. Now, if we think about the travel time that it takes for people to get to a specific part of the map, what do we have here? Remember, these towers are still up. Yeah. Who gets where the fastest? A, B, C. What is the fastest point that they can get to? Well, it's A, yeah, because it's the shortest distance that they can get to. Therefore, they can respond. Multiple people can respond to you if you're back into this situation here pushing, and then there is one guy defending, and then there is a bunch the other two people, let's say, or whatever, this other guy, because we said it's a 3v3, so let's leave these two guys out of the equation. Let's say this guy backed. What is the shortest? What is he going to go that's in the shortest amount of time to accomplish something? Well, it's going to be here, yeah? This guy that is from base takes him the least amount to come here in 2v1. Or he can go through jungle all the way behind. If you're still pushing this tower and two people versus one, you're not in your most favorable position. You die, and then this guy can rotate to mid. This guy can still farm and push the wave. And then, let's say the third guy can recall or just go to the other lane that's getting pushed. So, again, I'm not making this game about 3v3. You're not in a 3v3. You do not have teammates, even though you do have teammates. Unless you're on voice chat with them and you've purposely queued as a team, a 3v3, then you do not have teammates. You must think that you don't have teammates. You cannot rely to anybody in this type you can't rely on anybody in this type of game, because you're going to get fucked essentially, because there is not that it's not that your teammates are bad, for example, per se, but it's that sense of coordination that you don't have. Not everybody thinks what you're thinking. Not everybody thinks the way that I'm thinking. Therefore, for example, if I have teammates that I'm not able to communicate effectively, like straight away, what my intentions are and how they can contribute to the decision that I'm making. Therefore, they must be doing completely different thing, and then your teammate that is on mid lane can just be randomly going to the left lane. Therefore, you're stuck here in a vulnerable position into a 3v1 if they all rotate on you, and they might not accomplish anything on the other side of the map. That's the thing. They might not accomplish anything on the other side of the map. Therefore, he's not contributed to help and potentially 2v3 them or potentially get 2 kills and make it 2-for-2. He just been, wasting time. And that's fine, because everybody's in the beginning and everybody starts at a certain level. You learn, and this is kind of what I would like to do, is just teach everybody. So, again, let's make it reverse. Let's say I saw, which happened a lot, let's say during the tournament, and it still happens lots of time, people are here. What do I do? Wherever I am, well, not really wherever I am, but if I'm really close to this area, to this proximity here, let's take away these lines here. Let's say I'm anywhere close to these sort of pathways, then I'm going to take these pathways and come and kill you. So you have to be watching your back and have to acknowledge when people are missing from the map. And this becomes really hard, because if people are missing from the map for a really long time, then paranoia would set in and be like, oh, he's gonna gag me any time now. So you can't be playing too safe either, because if you're playing too safe and you don't know where people are, and let's say the wave of minions is here, you can't kill minions, therefore you're wasting resources. So there has to be a balance. And all this comes with game time. Like, you need to essentially have to play lots of games and to put these things in practice that I'm trying to teach you guys, and you will, adapt and think quicker and react, and then you'll learn certain player behaviors that somebody does. So everybody knows me, I'm a flanker, so they always, for example, in the tournament, people that, one good team that I was mostly playing against, they acknowledged that I'm always a flanker. Whenever they would pop on the map, they knew that I was going to be there to kill them. So what they would do, they would bait me out. They would just leave, for example, a player standing here. Okay, let's say blue is pushing, tower is down. They would leave blue here. I will see blue, let's say this is me, I'm rotating to kill him, but what they would do is they would just stand kind of behind him, waiting for me to actually come. I'm coming in, trying to kill this guy. Most cases I would kill this guy, but then there's these two people here that would just kill me, and then I would not be able to be as effective, because a 1v1, sorry, a 1-for-1 in my situation would not be worth there. So, because it would not be worth, because if I die, and let's say I was the main carry of the team, then those two people remaining can just push this tower and take this tower. So I had to think of, you know, ways to counteract that. And then it would be my turn to bait them out, and then I would to bait out their position, and so on and so forth. It was a full cool cycle going on. But anyway, so in this case, tower is down. Most likely what you want to do is, let me reset everybody here. You want to be going on the opposite lane, because the opposite lane offers you the following. Let's say it's a 1v1 on this lane. Now, you're not susceptible, you're not vulnerable from getting flanked from multiple ways, because let's say the wave of minions is in the middle here. This guy is playing a safe position, and you want to be kind of around here. You don't want to be too close into the minions if you're not seeing anybody on the map, because if somebody comes and hugs the wall like this, you're only going to be able to see him when he is here, and then in that time he's going to be way too close to you, and then you're going to die. So you want to be playing, depending on the gun that you're playing, you want to be playing a little bit more to the left here, because that offers you distance from potentially this guy coming in, and then offers you distance from this guy as well, yet you're still taking the minions that are on mid lane here. And therefore you should focus on this lane, because it takes the longest amount for somebody to come. So you don't want to be pushing this unless it's really free, because as we said, where can players get to the quickest? Here. Where do you want to be? Where players take the longest time to respond. Here and here. This is the simple gist of it. You can't just watch this video, watch this scenario, and then do this all the time, because people are going to catch onto your patterns and so on and so forth. They will be able to counter, essentially. They would know that you're not doing that and you're actually going on the opposite lane. They would come here, counter you, or look to gank you somehow, and etc. But at the core, this is the strategy that you want to be using. You want to push where they take the longest time to get there, to respond, to contest you. Because, again, if this is the longest points that they come to contest, well, it's that, in this particular scenario, it's here, because mid lane is quicker to actually get there, because on the left hand side, there is like, you know, the pathway is not direct as it is to mid lane. So in this specific scenario, you want to be pushing, for example, left hand side, because in the time difference that they would take from here to here, this time here is about 6 seconds. In 6 seconds, you can get pretty good damage on the tower. You can get a full clip in, and a full clip, you know, let's say you have level 3 gun and an item or something, it's 400-500 damage. It's like over 10% of the tower in one clip before they can actually get to respawn. And then those little things do compound over time, essentially. So you do this 2-3 times, those 2 rotations, you have basically 20-30% of a tower for free. And then that tower could make the difference, because let's say the tower is quite low, you're pushing here, And then by the time that the enemy comes, the tower has like 10%, which before he actually arrives, because you've been doing this and chunking that tower every single time by doing map rotation smarter than the other person, then you actually end up killing the tower, and then you might be able to push him and actually, you know, kill him. So now, what do you do, and what do you do when there is multiple towers down, for example? So we got this tower down, we got this tower down, and then this tower down. What this does, this here is your map now. So your map has extended from here to here, because where is the safe position of enemies? Well, behind tower. This is the safe position, this is the safe position, this is the safe position. Anywhere else in this area, you own it, because they have no safety net. Their safety net in this game is your towers. So you gotta know, which we're going to be talking about a little bit more in a different video, of how to take advantage of whenever a tower is down. Well, actually, let me give you a little sneak peek to why this is advantageous. Let's take the first scenario again. Let's say this tower is down. Let's say one person is fighting here, one person is fighting here. Let's say enemies here, enemies here. Let's say that what I've been teaching you guys and telling you, that you want to prioritize pushing a lane as quick as possible if there is a time to, well, most of the time, but especially when there is a good time to rotate. Rotating means you're going from a lane to another, or you're going outside of your lane. Let's say I'm here, you're going anywhere else but your lane. This means this is what you mean by rotation. This is what I mean by rotation. So let's say the guy on mid lane is really low. He's still at the tower, but it's really low. This guy is putting pressure on. This guy, or let's say me in this scenario, I acknowledge that the guy is low because I can see, because I've got vision on him from this guy that he's looking at him. I can actually see how much HP he has. Let's say I want to go in and help. How do I go in and help? Well, I rotate. What do? I push the wave as quick as possible, and then I rotate. Let's say I'm here. There is a 2v1 now. This guy is extremely pressured. This guy is left to be here because if he doesn't clear the minions, he's losing gold. So we have rotation advantage. We got tempo on this move. And because in this situation here, the tower is down and I'm on the right-hand lane, well, where is this guy vulnerable from in this position that he's at the tower when he's low? The most vulnerable position is obviously here. But because I've got the tower down here, and now this area is mine, because they got no safety net but behind the line of towers, where can I go and apply pressure? Like this, yeah? Because this is, let's say I'm stronger than this opponent here that is defending this tower. He's not gonna dare chase me. He should, in most cases, although he has to mind that I'm stronger than him because I've taken the tower down. So if I've taken the tower down, that means in 99% of the cases that I'm stronger than him. I'm rotating. Let's say this guy doesn't follow because he's stuck dealing with a wave of minions. Suddenly I can get behind tower line, and then obviously this makes it 3v1. Those two guys are trying to hit him. He moves behind tower. Who's he vulnerable from? Behind tower? Me, because I'm in this position. So this is what I do in match after match after match after match. Over the years of playing this type of games, it just became muscle memory. And I've only recently, personally, for example, in League of Legends, like started getting coaching for myself. Coaching is the most effective way, and things like this, like trying to replicate real life scenarios, well, real in-game scenarios, is going to be the most effective in order for you to learn, because you're going to acknowledge in your next games that situation and then what you can do. And then let's say We can, let's say I have myself, let's say I follow. What can this guy do and what can this guy do? Well, this guy has to be watching the minimap, because if he has vision on me, he can position purposely to actually gain vision of me. Because if he plays too safe here, for example, in this position, what is in his line of sight? This tower, this wall here, yeah? He doesn't know what I'm doing. If he stays here, I could still be here. I could have rotated already. So it's quite important. You see how much positioning matters, because if this guy is here, and let's say this is me, if this guy rotates, I don't see on the minimap that he actually rotates, because this guy here doesn't have vision, because he's in the line of sight of the wall. So in this case, how can this guy play defensively in order for him to gain something? In this case is vision. He should be playing to this side of the tower here, because if he's at this side of the tower, he's got vision and down his line of sight to all this area. So if I'm still here and I'm deciding to move and rotate, he actually sees me going into the jungle to rotate. Guess who else sees me? This guy here. So then this guy can plan accordingly. He can either use his ability to clear the wave as quick as possible and then move further back, waiting for the next wave of minions to come. And then therefore, obviously, because the minions are mirrored on the opposite lane, whenever those minions come, these minions come as well. So these guys are left doing nothing, because they can't apply pressure if this guy is basically behind the tower, and then because he's cleared minions, those people can't attack the tower because it's in protection. The tower needs to attack something in order to take the white shield down, in order for you to actually, well, in order for these guys to actually damage this tower. So these guys are basically doing nothing. They're useless. And all because of this guy. This guy was the key here. Even though he's losing the lane, he can be extremely valuable by positioning accordingly and understanding how, well, understanding how the minimap works. And then the minimap is one of the most important tools in this game. You have, again, I remind you, you have to treat it like is your wing mirrors from your car. Watch it 3 to 5 seconds every single time. Register the position of people, of players, and what they might do. So in this situation, or multiple situations I've showed you, but this specific situation, I've showed you how a mere 6 steps to the left, instead of being in this position here, they stay here. They're still beside tower. They're still relatively safe, unless this guy's owning and, I don't know, headshot him non-stop. But even in that case, he can move left and right, and dodge bullets. But let's say this guy is pretty good as well. He's dodging bullets or whatever. And this guy just so happened to have taken the tower down. If he stays here, the whole team gains information of what this guy is about to do. Yeah, sure, he can take jungle. Nonetheless, because he's taken the tower down, he's got certain advantages. Yeah, he can take the jungle, he can still take resources, but he's not able to snowball the game just with one tower, because that's what I can do. If you don't watch the minimap, I'm going to come and kill you all the time, no matter if you're beside the tower or not. I will just rotate and find a way for this guy not to see me. Or like, for example, if he moves about, I pressure, what I do, I pressure this guy into moving behind the tower, then I retreat and I go. Because I've pressured him, and I've seen that he went behind tower. I know that he doesn't have vision on me anymore. Therefore, I have the tempo. Tempo means you reacting faster, or you getting quicker to somewhere instead of your opponent, for example. Because I pressured him, I knew I have a plan. You always have to have a plan with every decision that you're making. My plan is pressure this guy, make him go towards this side of the map, the tower, so in his line of sight there is only this way, like this, and like this, and past that line I'm here, he doesn't see, because he's here, he only sees this way. He doesn't see what I do past that line. So I can still be here. I could hide underneath that rock here, or I could rotate. Before he actually moves and notices, if he's not quick enough, I'm already halfway to the tower. If this guy's still here, bang, I get behind him really quickly. Now, this is the first video that I kind of do of this type with this tool. Like, these are gonna get more not informative, but these are going to get more clear over time, that I would, learn to use this more effectively, and we're going to have more. You guys are going to have more 5v5 scenarios, because in a 3v3 scenario, obviously the lobby is not full, and then there's multiple things that can happen. Multiple people can rotate, which makes this whole thing even more difficult to understand for you guys, because there's multiple things to think about. Obviously, the more players that are essentially in a normal game, it's a 5v5, so multiple rotations can happen, and so on and so forth. So this video was primarily to kind of give you an example, show you the importance of map rotations, showing you the importance of the minimap, and how to be effective when you're defending, when you're losing, and how to be effective yet wary whenever you are winning. Because again, let's get another scenario and play like we've talked about in the first one. I'm pressuring this guy here, but then in the same time, I've got to think about myself getting flanked from these positions by players. Yeah, I can have multiple players rotating on me here. So I gotta be wary. If I'm in this position, where can I get flanked from, and where do I have to look in order to make myself, and how to position myself in order to be as safe as possible. So there is lots of things to take into considerations. There's lots of things to think about, and I'm here to help you guys. I'm here to help you understand all these things. I apologize that it might have been a mouthful. My my explanations hopefully will just get better over time. Again, I don't really have a script. Just mostly freestyle those videos through recent scenarios that are coming to mind. So this scenario here is mostly being referenced from the previous video that I've been playing with Laser, the 24 kills in 1 death previous video. So if you want to check that out as well, this has kind of replicated that game, at least in the beginning, where I've taken the tower on the left hand side, and then if you look at it, how I've been playing, how I've been wary, looking left and right, I could be getting flanked from here, from behind, and so on and so forth. There's multiple scenarios. Again, this is the beauty of this game. There's so many scenarios that can happen that you literally cannot cover them all with videos. There's multiple variables, what items they run, what skill level they have, lots of variables, and I'm just trying to condense everything into more generic scenarios. Obviously, in this specific scenario is not going to play out every single time like this. This guy that's defending can end up just killing you over and over again, and then he actually gets your tower, and then your tier 2, and then he actually ends up beating you because for whatever reason he's better than you or whatever. But in a general way, I kind of showed you how I'm playing, what I need to think about whenever I'm pushing the right hand side, for example. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one, probably with something similar, showcasing another scenario. There's lots of things to think about, to talk about. We're going to be talking about recall timings, and then when to back, how to gain tempo on enemies, and so on and so forth. Lots of good things. Most likely is going to happen after the New Year. Could be another video up until Christmas. So thanks again for watching. See you.